Alright, so we're moving right along in our Learn Python by Example tutorial series. In this tutorial, we're going to build a word dictionary. And what I mean by word dictionary is like a Webster or something like that, where the user puts in a word and we return the definition to them. So let's go ahead and create a new file. So Command New or Control N or Command N. We'll create you a new file. Let's go ahead and save it. Command S will do it, or Control S will do it for you in most text editors. I'm going to go ahead and save this one as tutorial4.py. Remember, .py is important, so make sure you put that. So I go ahead and save that. Now, what I normally do is put a comment at the top. Since we named it tutorial4.py, it's going to be difficult to understand what the program does. So let's go ahead and put a comment at the top and say, this is a word dictionary. Cool. Alright, so now we have a way to remember what our program does. Next thing we want to do is we're going to build a dictionary, like I said, and we need a way to store our words and our definitions. So in this case, we're going to use something called a dictionary data type in Python. It's pretty cool that we're building a dictionary and we're going to use a dictionary data type, correct? So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a variable that will represent our dictionary, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to call it dictionary. Alright. You want to try to be as most explanatory in your variable names so you know what they actually do. Alright, so let's create a dictionary, and we do that with the curly braces like this. Alright, and the first part of the dictionary is the key. So we're going to put the key in, and I'm going to say programming. So this is our word. This is our word that the user will search for. And then the next part is our value, and that's going to be our definition. Let's put a space here so it's easier to read. So the definition of programming is, now let's say, set of code or rules that will be ran by a computer. All right. I don't know if that's the actual definition, but close enough. Next one will be, let's create another word and definition. So we'll do Python. All right. And definition of Python is, it is a general purpose programming language. Sweet. So now we got two words and a definition. Now you can add as many words as you want into this dictionary. That's up to you. We will be changing the way we handle this in the future, because what we're going to do with this program here is, after we build this program, you're going to say, well, this program has a lot of flaws, and that's intentional, because I want to show you how to write your program, get your idea down, and then what you're going to do is go back and improve on it, because this program's going to need a lot of improving. So what we're going to do is end up changing how this functions, and most of the program functions, to be quite honest with you. But this is a simple, basic, hey, this is a dictionary and this is how it works type thing. So next thing I want to do is get the user's input. What word are they searching for? So I'm going to create a variable that will represent that object that the user searches for. So let's go ahead and do search as our variable. Then we're going to use the input function to get the user's input, and I'm just going to type search, which will prompt the user to search for a word. Alright, pretty sweet, right? So we got search. Now the next thing we need to do is print our return, or our definition, to the user. So let's go ahead and do print. And then how do we get a dictionary definition? Well, what we do is dictionary, and then we use square brackets and then the key. So here's the key. So that's how we're going to get the definition. So we're going to do dictionary, then square brackets, and then the key. Because a dictionary is different than a list and tuple and everything else. It's called a mapping data type, which we get the value via the key. So we're getting the data via the key. So let's go ahead and save this program, and let's go ahead and run it. Alright, so I'm going to do Python 3 tutorial4.py, hit return, and it's going to ask me to search for something. So I'm going to do programming, and it says set of code or rules that will be ran by a computer. Alright, so I put in programming here, but this, might confuse the user a little bit. When you look at a dictionary, you usually have the word and then followed by the definition. So let's go ahead and change our program a little bit to make it look a little bit better. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to keep this here, but what I want to do is create a string. In that string, I'm going to put curly braces, and then I'm going to put a hyphen, and then curly braces again, and then close out our string, and then period, format. We saw this in the previous tutorial. Then parentheses, and then the first argument is going to be search, and then our second argument is going to be dictionary with the key, and then we just got to add one more parentheses at the end to close out the format, and print's closed out, and now we can run our program again. So let's go ahead and save that and go back to our terminal, and if you push up, it brings up the last command, Python 3 tutorial4.py, hit return. It's going to ask me to search for something, so I'm going to say programming again. Boom. Alright, now we got programming hyphen set of code or rules that will be ran by a computer. Awesome. That's what I'm looking for. Alright. Now, our program here already has some flaws that I can see. Let's go ahead and look at the first flaw. Let's run our program again, and this time we're going to search for IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Alright, so let's go ahead and run that, because since we're talking about programming Python, that probably would be in our dictionary. Hit return. IDE, a set of code or rules that will be ran by a computer. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So let's go back and look at our code here. You notice that I put programming here. Alright, that's not what we're supposed to put. We actually want to put search. Why? Because we want to be able to grab the actual key that the user is searching for. I put that in intentionally just to show you that we can grab programming, because I knew that's what I was going to ask for every time. Alright, so what are we doing? We need the argument to be what the user searched for. So the user searched for programming. This is going to be replaced to programming, right? Because it's a variable. Same with this. This is going to be replaced to programming. Alright, so let's go ahead and save it. And let's go ahead and go back to our program. And let's try IDE again. Oops. IDE. Uh-oh. Key error now. Something's broken. Hey, Tom, you screwed this whole thing up. No, actually, what's happening here is we're searching for IDE. Alright, so if we look in our dictionary up here, here's our key. Programming worked. Let's go to the next one. Python. Alright, there's another key. I don't see IDE. Alright, so what this error is saying is, hey, key error, IDE doesn't exist. Alright, so that's one problem we're going to face in our future with our program here. When we don't have IDE, we're going to get an error. We don't like showing errors. So in the next tutorial, we're going to fix that problem. Let's look at another problem we might have as well that we can fix in the next tutorial. If you notice, I made Python capitalized over here. What happens if the user doesn't use capitalize? Like my wife, when she types on the computer, she doesn't capitalize anything. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Run that again, and we're going to do Python. Alright, another key error. Guess what? Keys are key sensitive. Or case sensitive, not key sensitive. Case sensitive. So if I don't capitalize Python, then it's not going to find it. So let's go ahead and try that again with a capital. Whoop, I got to run the program. Let's run a capital this time. Boom. Python is a general purpose programming language. Okay, cool. So now we know they're key sensitive. That could be, a big issue as well if the user added, lowercase p. But it's the same word. It doesn't change. All right. So we got to figure out a way to fix that in the next tutorial. So right now we have two things we need to fix in the next tutorial, which we're going to look at. And then after we run that, I foresee a couple more problems. So this tutorial series, building the word dictionary, is going to be a little extended because we got to keep improving on it. I'm a stickler for perfection, so we're going to go ahead and improve on it. Got any questions, leave a comment on our forum at mastercode.online, and we'll see you then.